Hey there, it's Dusty Thunder with another story for you. This is a best of Redditor update, so buckle up, pop the popcorn, you know the drill, get your blankie. Title of this one is Am I the Astronaut for Firing My Daughter's Best Friend for Being Too Polite? Originally posted January 5th, 2021. I hired my daughter's best friend. She's a good kid and has a real interest in learning and working in my industry. My daughter's friend was unqualified, but I cleared it with the film's producers to have an assistant who's also a student. Okay, film industry. She's a hard worker and a fast learner and picked up her role well. She's going to have a successful career as a theater and film technician. In spite of that hard work and quick learning, I had to fire her last night over her text messages to me. Oh, like too nice? She is hired as a student. Her inexperience and therefore need to ask questions is assumed. I expect text messages asking for more clear directions, instructions on assigned tasks, clarification of the equipment, etc. I told her in the beginning of December, you are here to learn, not to already know. No matter where I am, you text me questions you have and I will come to show you or reply with an explanation. Green flag OP. All her messages have been appropriate questions for the tasks currently assigned. My hang-up was how she begins her messages. All start with, Mr. Last Name. Sorry to bother you. I know you're busy. I don't want to be a bother. Sorry, I need help again. Etc. I've repeatedly text back that she is not a bother, that I want her asking questions, that she does not need to be formal, and so forth. No matter how many times I tell her to drop formalities, she keeps using them in every message. I explain I am her supervisor on set, and her questions are a part of that role. So after 5 weeks now of her not following my repeated request to believe in the validity of her right to ask questions, yesterday afternoon I switched it to an ultimatum. If your future messages open with any wording that implies you are in an inconvenience, then I'm going to assume you don't yet feel professionally ready to be working on a film, and I will let you go. 3 hours later, she sends the final message with, sorry. I replied back that she needed to go back to the trailer to get her stuff and leave. She was no longer my assistant on this film. Now she is hurt. Her mom, passive-aggressively, dragged me on Facebook. My daughter texted letting me know how mad she is at me. And when I got home, I had a sign on her bedroom door that said, don't knock. Don't try to speak with me. So basically everybody is mad at me. Now, the fired best friend will still be included in the credits, invited to the premiere as a crew member, and get a positive job reference on her ability to perform the assigned tasks. All she lost were those final 2 weeks of work. I have assured everyone that I will give her another chance on a future gig when I feel she's ready to ask questions without qualifiers. Listening to and adapting your work behavior to the preferences of your supervisor is a real-world priority. So I think I did her future career a favor teaching that lesson. Am I the astronaut? Thoughts? Okay, there are verdicts and comments here to read. However, before getting into that, I understand OP's brain. I understand the thinking that look, to survive, not even survive, but to thrive in this industry, you have to be able to communicate very efficiently. Everything is about efficiency. And slowing me down with your formalities is an inefficiency that I will tolerate to a point. I will speak up about and try to eliminate. If you prevent me from eliminating inefficiencies, I cannot do my job. That becomes a problem that will affect your job. I don't think OP ever communicated that to her though, and that's the problem. Thinking that way is one thing, communicating it to the person who is causing you that inefficiency is another. And I feel like in this case, that step was missed. He said, stop. And then he said, stop or you won't have a job. And then, yeah, she did it again. But you have to understand, to all of those people involved, looking at the situation from the outside, you are an asshole. And even to the people on the inside, because this one critical step there, I think, was missed, you're probably an asshole too. So understand, yes, you are going to be the asshole to everybody involved. You don't think you are, but to them, you are. So it's really, whose shoes are you in here? Pretty much everybody but you is going to be a yeah. Oh yeah, so it wasn't an in-person conversation when he told her those things too, to stop. If somebody's job legitimately hinges on their changing a behavior, this has to be a face-to-face conversation, and it has to be followed up with the paper trail too. Now, film industry may be completely different. I think it's less corporate and more contract, right? So I'm sure it's a very different kind of world there, but still, you have to expect that you are going to be the asshole to all these people involved. You can't be surprised by it. The verdict was asshole. Relevant comments here. YTA, she's trying to be a professional and not assume preference because your daughter is her friend. Firing her for being too polite will likely inhibit the confidence you were hoping, to instill. Valid point. OP, I was trying to instill confidence. Way too many men expect women to apologize and act unworthy. She is hella good for her first gig. My genuine wish is that she would recognize her skill and be confident that she is qualified to do the job. That's the conversation you have with her before firing her. Comment, LOL, imagine firing somebody, a teenager no less, for not being confident enough but still good at their job and then trying to pretend it's a feminist thing. I think OP is like, if I could go back and retrain myself, how would I want to be trained? And that's how he's approaching this. He's thinking what would work best for his brain, not for her, and not for the ramifications that rippled through his personal life. Top comments. How dare somebody be courteous and polite? YTA here. You're telling me that you fired a 19-year-old girl for being too polite, for apologizing when she thought she might be interrupting your busy schedule? This is a sign of respect that she's showing you. She was asking appropriate questions and being perfectly professional. There are plenty of adults who would respond in the same way as she did to show consideration that the person they're contacting has a life outside work. This was your problem, not hers, and now she's lost an opportunity. Oh, there's an update. I don't know. Two updates. Taylor, she only had 2 weeks left to see her hard work pay off too. Total ask on. That part stings, right? Oh, you didn't let me finish the project and go to like the rap party and do the fun last mile stuff. Cool. And he's got this mentality of like, coffee's for winners. He's got this like, you'll get to taste victory when you've earned victory. Okay, let's dive into the update. Thank you everyone for the fast and very thorough ass whooping. We do not start filming today until late afternoon. I have taken the judgment of this form seriously and texted her an apology that admits my actions were absolutely counter to the competence in her ability that I wanted her to have. I have asked her to please come back to finish the remainder of the shoot with us and told her I would reimburse the couple of lost hours from last night. I especially need to apologize to other posters who accused me of being a faux feminist. I was not intending to pretend my feminism, and I do genuinely want her to succeed because I believe she has the potential to be a great filmmaker. Thank you for calling me out on my bullshit. I am waiting now to see if she's willing to accept my apology and return to the position. And follow up same day. She is coming back this evening. I called her mom too after a text message to her and explained that I only want to make her a better member of the team, but accepted the way that I did made me an asshole instead. I will talk to her tonight before shooting in hopes to undo any damage to her confidence I caused last night. I don't think you can unring that bell. Can you? I don't think you can undo damage like that. I don't think that kind of damage ever goes away. You can build some positives next to it. Think of it like a landscape, right? You're going to have some peaks and valleys in there. That's a valley. And to a 19-year-old girl who got the probably dream squealing excitement when she got the acceptance of a gig working on a movie, she got shit canned from it 2 weeks before it wrapped. In her 19-year life, that's probably the lowest valley she's felt. I don't think you're going to undo that kind of damage with a quick combo before you start filming today, brother. And that's where the disconnect is. I feel like the disconnect is he's got robot mind, and I understand robot mind, right? Not everybody has robot mind, man. Very few people do. You can't communicate. You can't act in the robotic way that makes sense in your mind because to the rest of the world, you're just an asshole all the time. And it took me a lot of work to start undoing that, to start changing those behaviors. And you know what? I still got a long way to go. Don't say yup again. Timing. I felt it. I felt the yup winding up in your head. Didn't make it to your mouth, but I felt it winding up in your head. Yep. I'm still a robotic asshole. It's something that is a very, very hard thing to change. And I think the ability to self-reflect is critical for that. And you know what? This might be OP's first big step in that direction. He's self-reflected. He's taking actions to try to correct something he did. He's apologizing. That's a huge step for him too. So let's hope that puts him on a trajectory to get where he needs to get and start being able to translate his robot brain and actions into something that actually respects the relationships around him and doesn't do damage to them all the time. Let's hope. but I don't think he's going to be able to undo this damage with a quick combo before filming starts today. That's all I'm saying. So, my NTA was way the off. He was an asshole. Gosh, the whole doing it 2 weeks before wrapping makes it feel way more spicy. Oh, you think he's a 3? I think he's 2. I think he's an Ascon 2. I think he definitely shouldn't have done that. And that's really that's kind of a self-reflection here too. To look back at like robotic things or decisions that I've made and acted upon or communicated, and it's definitely shouldn't do those. You definitely shouldn't. Not even just should do it differently. It's no. You need to take that path and that thinking out of your mind completely. Identify the problem, but that's just the problem. The solution and how you act out or enact pieces of that solution needs to be completely separate from the robot brain that is working that problem. You need to jump into the relationship side of your brain for that, if that makes sense. Angel dropping the 2 said, did he self-reflect though? Reddit reflected for him. Maybe, but here's the deal. Yes, he was willing to understand and he was willing to apologize. The willingness to apologize, I feel like, requires self-reflection. Even if it was very shallow, even if it was I don't want them to think I'm the asshole for all this. So yes, I'll apologize. I'll get her back in here. I'll explain that's not what I was trying to do. Even if he doesn't fully yield that yet, I feel like a step in this direction will seed that with him. And maybe next time he's getting ready to make a decision like this, he'll self-reflect and say, how does this play out with relationships? And maybe then be able to do that. So it's not to the depth that we'd like it to see or like it to be, obviously. But for Robot Brain Man here to do that, I feel like is a big step in the right direction. Dr. Sweets dropping the 10 says, I could see him redeeming his actions and undoing some damage if change comes with the apology. Do you think there's enough time for that change to come? Okay, good point. I'm thinking in terms of this project. So they've got 2 weeks left. So it's got 2 weeks. It's hard to create some real change in 2 weeks, but he talked about future projects too. So if this turns into a multi-project kind of mentorship where he can undo that, sure. I still don't know if he undoes it though, because even if he builds a big peak next to this and he creates her to be not creates her, but mentors her along the way to becoming an award-winning filmmaker, she'll still look back at this time when she was 19 years old and remembers this big old valley. You know what I mean? It's still going to be there. It will still very much be there. Reddit showed him a mirror, his choice to look. Wonder Woman. Nicely put.